Two of Hollywood's hottest stars are starring in a movie about one of history's hottest couples, just in time for your Memorial Day weekend. Nicole Kidman and Clive Owen star in Hemingway and Gellhorn, about the iconic writer and the pioneer female war correspondent, whose love story was as tempestuous as the times they lived in. To tell us about this sexy new drama are Nicole Kidman and Clive Owen, joining us from the Cannes Film Festival. Guys, I tried very hard to convince my producers to send me to Cannes to interview you in person, but to no avail. You both in this movie play two iconic people. Nicole, had you heard of Martha Gellhorn? She was described by Hemingway himself as the bravest woman I ever saw.
I hadn't heard of her until I read the script, and then I fell in love with her because her story is so, I mean, it's an extraordinary life, which you'll see if you watch the show.
You, of course, Clive, prepped for this role by actually visiting Ernest Hemingway's house in Cuba and trying on his boots?
I didn't. That's a lie, actually. I didn't try on the boots, no, but I did go to. I went to Havana, Cuba for a week and went and visited the Hemingway house there, which was pretty extraordinary because after he died, what they did is they took all the expensive paintings out of the house and left everything in there, and it's still in there. So you go in there, you see his record collection, you see his books, his typewriters are still there. But the thing that really blew me away is I went in the closet and saw his jackets and his boots sitting in there. I didn't actually try them on. I didn't think that was appropriate. But
had you read all of Hemingway's books before doing this?
I have now.
You have now?
I hadn't, no. I hadn't read that much, to tell you the truth, yeah. So I took quite a few months off and immersed myself in all things Hemingway, really, yeah.
The story of this movie shows Hemingway teaching Gellhorn many things, including, quote, the Hemingway code of behavior, which is described by the studio as grace under pressure and the ability to drink to excess. That sounds like quite a description, Nicole.
Yep. I can do it.
Some of it, part of it.
Some of it. That's a very Gellhorn response. I can do it. But I mean, the great thing is that, as Phil says, in some ways she's sort of out Hemingway'd Hemingway in the trajectory of their lives.
Right. It was a fiery and tumultuous relationship. We have a clip from the movie from when the two of them first meet, and it shows the sparks flying even then. Let's take a quick look.
Wild onions. Locals say eat 2 onions a day, you'll live to be 100.
What do the locals say about one's breath?
They say it is a taste one must acquire.
I'll never eat a scallion the same way again, guys. Much has been written about the very graphic sex scenes in this movie. Was that daunting at all for either of you to do?
It was the one scene that Phil, it was pretty, I mean, everyone knows that Phil loves a good sex scene, and I have to be honest, he talked about nothing else for quite some time before we started filming. We kept having to tell him, Phil, there's a lot of other scenes before that scene.
It's true, we did. I said, Phil's obsessed with that scene. Well, but the actual scenes, ultimately, because we talked about them so much, he came up with things like the plaster falling and the roof falling, and while they're making love, and I mean this wild sort of world, and this war going on, and these two people are so attracted to each other that no matter what, they have to come together. And through that, I mean that's an important part of the story, and that's what made those scenes relevant.
It's an amazing chapter in history, and you play two such iconic characters. Nicole Kidman, Clive Owen, have a great weekend in France. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
All right.